What an absolutely incredible time it really is to be a theme park enthusiast here in the UK. I'm Sean Sandbrook and welcome to a Theme Park Worldwide News Update. Now the reason that I open with that is because there's so much going on at the moment to be excited for in the UK theme park industry. Of course, down at Chessington you've got the World of Jumanji, a new themed area featuring a signature roller coaster. Along with that, Thorpe Park with Project Exodus, with the plans still ongoing, however fingers crossed that will get approved. Of course, along with that we know there's big changes coming to Jewel at Alton Towers for next year. There's been markings spotted on the floor at Drayton Manor for a future project, and down at Paultons Park they've also applied for use of land. So yeah, there's certainly lots going on at the moment across the theme parks here in the UK, and of course I'm going to be filming more videos and updates all about them individually. In this video I'm going to be talking about LEGOLAND Windsor. Now of course it is actually the busiest theme park in terms of gate figure here in the UK, and yeah, it surpassed Alton Towers a few years ago. With that they've actually only got 3 roller coasters, 2 of which are very small, Dragon's Apprentice and also the Duplo Dino coaster, and then along with that the Dragon coaster, which is the largest roller coaster at LEGOLAND Windsor. Along with that they've got plenty of other attractions such as dart rides, water rides, Flight of the Sky Lion, one of the best dart rides in the UK, and the country's only flying theatre. So they've got a good rounded mix of attractions down there at Legoland. However, something they're really missing, and they have been for quite a while, is another major coaster, and something ideally with a good throughput of at least 1,000 people an hour to really get people through. Well, the good news is that LEGOLAND Windsor obviously realised that, and they are actually planning on building a new Dueling Family Roller Coaster. And in this video, I'm going to go through all of the details, starting off with the application, also the location within the park. I'll then talk about the ride, possible manufacturers, and then kind of move on to my thoughts and a general look at it. So yeah, let's get started, shall we? Now, of course, LEGOLAND Windsor is a beautiful park. It used to be a safari park, actually, and it's built on a lovely hillside location. That does mean, though, that it can be difficult for the park to get planning permission for certain rides. They struggle with building anything too tall and kind of ruining the views over towards Windsor Castle, and also vice versa as well, looking back towards Legoland. And yeah, with it being a hilly site, it's not always the easiest to build rides on. Now, what they've actually done this week is applied for a certificate of lawfulness to Windsor and Maidenhead Council to build a new family dueling roller coaster. The location within the park would be actually on the hillside where Raft Racers currently is. Now, if you're not familiar with that, Raft Racers is a dinghy slide, or a set of them, that haven't actually opened now for quite some time. Don't get me wrong, it was a good fun ride. However, for that space that it took up quite a lot of room actually, they could certainly do something bigger and better. And clearly the team at Legoland also think that as well, and want to build this family dueling coaster. Now, the plans actually show Raft Racer to be completely removed, leaving this huge area on the hillside. What it does actually leave, though, is the mansion, the big manor house that they've got there. Now, that isn't actually publicly accessible, which is a shame actually, because it's a beautiful building. However, yeah, that's kind of back of house at LEGOLAND Windsor. And in fact, now with all the trees and foliage that's grown over the past few years, you can't really even see the big mansion house that much. But if you do look out carefully when you're at Legoland, next time you go, there's a big white building up on the hillside. Look out for that, because this roller coaster is going to be built effectively right in front of it, so you will get to see it from on the ride, and also as well, along with that, hopefully some great views across the park and over towards Windsor from how the layout of this coaster looks. So yeah, we're kind of looking at a replacement for Raft Racers. Now, I mentioned this is going to be a dueling roller coaster. Of course, that is brilliant news for capacity, as I'll move on to in just a moment. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the manufacturer, because obviously I did a post on social media a couple of days ago. I had a quick look at the plans, got it out straight on there, and didn't really look at them in too much detail. And I thought, oh, okay, this looks very similar to a ride that actually operates over at Wildlands Adventure Zoo, which is in the Netherlands. I've actually been there and I recorded this POV, so here it is. But yeah, this is actually from Vekoma, and that's one of their family boomerang racer models. Now, when you look at this, it can actually have a capacity of 1,200 people per hour. which would be brilliant. And yeah, along with that, it also features a kind of similar layout to what we can see here on the plans. Now you look at how the train can interact with each other. It's two completely different roller coasters. With this, it starts off going backwards up the lift hill, making its way forwards, passing through the station, into the layout, interacting of course with the other side, but before then going to the spike and then coming through the layout backwards before slowing down and entering the station again. Now, initially I thought, oh, it looks very similar to that. However, upon having a closer inspection at the plans, and when you zoom in on the track type, it does actually look like Zero track. Now, this would also make sense with other rides that Merlin have bought for Lego parks. In fact, we was at Legoland Billund earlier this year, and yeah, with Legoland Billund, they also have bought recently Zero roller coasters. Polar Explorer, for example, there's another coaster they've got there that they put in a couple of years ago. So yeah, it's one of those that they've worked with Zero quite a few times now at Lego parks. Also, when they're actually building their newer Dragon coasters, they tend to work with Zero now as well. And of course, with this being a Lego park that's Merlin owned, then yeah, it could be a Zero coaster. And when you look at the track, it does seem like it. Now, with Zero, they don't actually do anything similar to this design out there at the moment. However, obviously they do some fantastic family roller coasters. The Zero Tivoli, of course, a classic over the day. And then, yeah, they've kind of worked on that model over the years and enhanced the train design with some of their more modern coasters. So could we be seeing a Zero prototype for this? Could we say? I mean, certainly so. The track does look very Zero. You zoom in and look at the station design, especially towards the air gates, they also lean towards Zero as well. However, it is that track could just be a placeholder. We've seen that before with other projects such as Exodus, you know, so it could just be a placeholder, and maybe this will be a Vekoma family boomerang racer. However, yeah, there's a couple of different options. I'll put it out there though, I do think it'll either be Zero or Vekoma. Probably leaning more towards Zero now after zooming in on that track, but anything's possible. But still, the good news is it's two tracks, it's two trains, it's two coasters, which for Legoland Windsor is absolutely brilliant, because that is what that part needs. Now, if we're going with the Vekoma model, it can do about 1,200 people an hour. I'd imagine Zero could also match that and do something similar. Obviously, that does depend on dispatch times and that sort of thing, but if they can get something like that into Legoland Windsor, fantastic in my opinion, because that would be great. Also, with it not being a massively long ride, it should eat people, it should get people through really quick, probably even better throughput than the Dragon coaster, I would say, with this one. Now, move away from the manufacturer a second, just to talk about the layout, the plans that we can actually see here. Now, here's a nice kind of overview of the official plans for this ride, and yeah, you can see how you've got the two lift hills next to each other, kind of going back up towards the big mansion house, and then come forwards through the station, and then yeah, make its way into a helix. The two tracks will interact with each other at a few different moments before going to some sort of spike, and then coming backwards through the layout, and then of course into the station again just there as well. So yeah, it's going to be all about the interactions with this ride. And along with that, I'd imagine the views as well are going to be pretty awesome. Now, if anybody went on RAF races, you'll know that already from the station you could get a great view looking out. I mean, now that ride is closed and all the signage has actually been removed recently, but when you're on there you can look out and kind of get a nice view of the park already. With this, you imagine a lift hill going up backwards on the hillside, you're going to get a great view over the park, Windsor Castle in the distance, and that could also really enhance the ride experience. Along with, you're going to have another train next to you to wave at, and you know, and then you're kind of interacting with each other. I love dueling coasters, and I think this would be a great ride for Legoland Windsor. I'm really positive about this. Wasn't really expecting it, however, we knew there was going to be something coming. I did a little report actually in the vlog about some markings that I saw there last year, and yeah, it kind of matches up a little bit with this. I mean, the markings were slightly off from these plans, but still, it's that same area right at the top of the park, really, where we're looking at this development. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. Also, in terms of a time frame for when this could open, now the eagle-eye viewers will notice down there on the plans, it does actually say Al 24. Could that just basically mean Legoland 2024? I think it probably will do. We're coming towards the end of the summer now, of course, for 2022. It's too late for it to open next year. I think this would be a 2024 project. Now, we also know that Exodus at Thorpe Park if all the plans go through relatively soon, will be opening in 2024. However, if things keep getting pushed back and delayed with that, that could end up being 2025. However, yeah, I don't think, you know, Exodus and a Legoland coaster competing is really a big issue. I mean, I don't think we'd see them open like the Chessington Wing Coaster and something at Thorpe Park in the same year. However, with Legoland, it's got its own audience. I don't think, you know, they'll be put off with opening a junior roller coaster and then Thorpe opening a big coaster. You know, they'll both have their own target audience for that. So yeah, they could both open in 2024. But yeah, with this, the plans for it look very exciting. The throughput looks good. In terms of a theme for it, on the plans, you can kind of see like all these markings around the track, especially on this plan. It's hard to tell. Is that marking out the old trees that are there? Or is it kind of like theming and rock work? It's quite hard to tell. I think it's more to do with the trees and stuff around it. But still, it does show them on that plan, but not on the others. So yeah, I think that's more the heights and elevations. But still, there will be a theme to this. It won't just be generic. What sort of theme could they go for? I mean, I'm not really a Lego expert. Obviously, I know what's at the Lego parks, but comment down below what sort of theme could work for this, basing it off Lego box sets and that sort of thing. What could they go for? I would love to know. And also your thoughts on this ride as well. But there we go. Yeah, this is really exciting though. Like I say, we don't really know the manufacturer 100%. The track from zero it looks like, but that could just be a placeholder. One thing we do know though is that these plans have gone in and the certificate of lawfulness, which basically means they've already effectively got planning permission for that piece of land. They can kind of do it within permitted developments, I believe, but they're just kind of showing what they want to do and making sure that before it all goes ahead, they're not doing anything wrong. That's the way that I look at it. I mean, I'm not the council, but you know, the way I look at it, I think that kind of is how this works. It's not a full application, it's a certificate of lawfulness, which means they can technically do it on that land anyway. I think so. I think that's basically what it means. But if anyone from Windsor and Maidenhead Council wants to comment down below and confirm that, then let me know. But great news to the park. Of course, it will mean that Legoland goes from 3 coasters to 5, because this will be 2 coasters. And yeah, hopefully a throughput of at least 1,000 an hour, hopefully 1,200, which would be brilliant for the park. But there we go. What an exciting update. I'll actually be back this week with a few other news updates, because there's quite a lot going on in the industry at the moment. So yes, I am looking forward to talking more about that. But there we go, from the new Legoland coaster, this is all for now. Stay tuned here to the channel for future updates. And that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in tomorrow's video.